Hi everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to the energy of the Equinox 2020. I am so happy to be here. This is one of my favorite videos of the year to make because I always feel so much potential and so much capability coming forth collectively as people are kind of coming out of the ending time of Pisces, letting go of what they no longer need, and seeing the sun rise once more on their goals, their wants, their truth. This is always one of the most optimistic, most potential-filled times of the year, and specifically this year in 2020, it is sort of a potent dose of this energy. We are jumping straight into the high-octane, strong, fiery, cardinal fire energy of Aries, along with being in the Chinese year of the rat, which are both numerologically energies of the number 1. So we've got this really impactful, really strong energy of double 1 coming in, which for everyone is creating a new leaf, creating new possibilities, creating new potentials, and it's really mind-boggling, okay? As you might be listening to this video early, before the equinox, or even after, it's mind-boggling to see how much things can change and how much the old things of the past, the outworn ways of being, the outworn mindsets, how much those things can just easily slip away now. And this is one of our biggest goals during this time, is to allow ourselves to slip away, or to allow ourselves to let go of those heavy things of the past. So as you might have seen, and you can revisit some of my videos from earlier in March to see more info about this, a lot of things from the past may have come up. A lot of things from years ago, or from all of these old chapters, may have really reemerged in early March, just so you could kind of add it all together, and just so you could almost find accountability in where things may have gone right or gone wrong. We had, from January to March, one of the most prevalent times for accountability, okay? Being accountable, seeing where we went wrong, seeing where we were the villain on our own paths, or seeing where we were clipping our own wings, or clipping the wings of others, or having problems with others. We may have really been called, actually from about November of 2019 till early March of 2020, to really see in totality where we've messed up and where we've done right too, and really get a strong grasp and strong note of what that was, just again so we could truly release it all. I just did a video about forgiveness a few days ago, and I'll link that below in the description box and in the top right hand corner as well. And we are so strong right now with our capability of forgiveness, and that ability right now, and that potential for everyone, is truly unlocking the door into this abundant equinox energy. So as you guys know, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, I make a video about the equinox every year. But for those of you who aren't too familiar with what equinox means, it is the obviously equal day and equal night is the theme, and it has been a day that we have ritualized or celebrated, or realized at least, for millennia as humanity. And it has always had a strong significance because there is an ability during the equinox to truly see things in their truth, okay? We have a sense of justice, a sense of weighing the balance, a sense of true visibility, and this is so potent right now because we just had a strong Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Mercury has just gone direct and is truly direct at this time, and that helps us to see things so clearly. So here during this really time of about March 20th till March 25th, 2020, you have a great opportunity to see your life for what it is, to see your experience for what it is, to see what you're going through for what it is, and to see those truths very abundantly. And that can be a lot for some people to take, and that's why the beginning of March, even like late February of 2020, might have been really testing for some people's mental strength or some people's emotional resolve, because that would have started to build up then, and those truths would have started to be more and more visible. You know, I've talked a lot about Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and that really does challenge our emotional health and challenge all of the structures in our lives that we consider to be sturdy or not. And, many of us may have been really thrust, I feel, by other people or even by ourselves into a sort of oblivion of, or sort of a gauntlet, I want to call it, of deep personal problems that hadn't necessarily been seen or illuminated before. And some of these may have been super simple or super easy for some people to deal with, but it's almost from that simplicity that we get this like, whoa, like Pandora's box energy. Like, I didn't realize how simple all of this was, or how much I was making this an emotional game or just a maze for myself for the sake of it being a maze, We are dealing with those kinds of things. And as we're getting to the equinox, it gets so much easier, okay? Because equinox marks the primordial shift from Pisces to Aries. So we are having death and rebirth energy combined and consolidated, alchemized within the equinox. And what equinox proves to us basically is there is no true ending. There is no true actual ending. The only thing that an ending symbolizes is the transitional period from complete destruction, complete relinquishment, into complete rebirth and complete rising from the ashes, basically. So we are gifted as humanity that this one day, and to a degree this week of Phoenixian energy, where we do become ashes and then we rise again, and we go from that deep watery Neptunian energy of Pisces, the penultimate death energy, and suddenly we shift into the first breath of air, youthful baby energy of Aries. And that can be really tough for some people to experience. And that's why this time of year, there can be a lot of disturbances and a lot of difficulties that people go through, just because it's a shocking thing to see in humanity when we have such a strong shift from ending to beginning. And one of the best ways to capitalize on this energy productively, and to use this energy to your authentic advantage, is to accept that things don't go on forever, and to see hope and inspiration in the inevitable changes that are here. So the people that really struggle during specifically this equinox of 2020 are people who are really attached to seeing things that are out of their control a certain way, okay? Really attached to seeing society, politics, family, relationships, other people outside of themselves, really seeing those things be a certain backdrop or be a certain fixed, solid thing. Those people are having a hard time of it this year. None of us really know the changes that are happening. When you have a double one, Aries season, rat year, it only happens once every 12 years. When you have a double one, to a degree, this is like a collective societal death and new beginning. And nobody can really truly predict what that's looking like, but a lot of people try. A lot of people try to control it. A lot of people really try to get their hands on it and really try to do a lot of, coding. We'll call it like a societal coding. And that is what creates a lot of misery, and that's what creates a lot of chaos, is individual demands of what the future is going to look like, or individual control need to shape it. Because to a degree, it's sort of out of humanity's hands, because we're dealing with universal momentum. And it kind of has to fall where it falls. It's like the dominoes start falling, and it just has to do what it has to do. Things kind of have to play themselves out right now. That's a tough thing about this equinox of 2020, is we don't have that much control, okay? Individuals, this is hard to say, and this is a bit harsh, but individuals don't have that much control over things right now. It's really working collectively, and that will be the case until about the time that we get back into Cancer season, so June 2020. March to June of 2020 is not a very individually empowering time, and some of us just have to accept that to a degree. I mean, of course we can make appropriate changes and have appropriate power over our own lives, but when it comes to controlling others or making choices for others, I wouldn't recommend it during this time. We have to be so self-focused right now. And this is sort of interesting because it's not selfishness, but we have to really be careful. And I feel this so strongly. This is probably like the most important message of the Equinox video for 2020. We have to really, really be careful about making decisions for others or prescribing for others what their future is going to look like, or, being like the head of the family, the head of like the leader. Leadership positions are tricky right now. People who are making decisions for a lot of people, they are going to really have a hard time of that. Because again, this is a double one. This is not outside of the energy of the self. This is not about the collective, really. Individuals are not working with the collective. Individuals are working with themselves only. So what that means is that there's going to be chaos and disarray for those people who want to really control others. So this is such a great time. And the people who can just focus on their own progression, their own momentum, their own progress in life, those people are going to really get far. And just to sort of complete that, people who are not focusing on themselves at all, okay, really focused on the progression of others, really focused on the decisions that other people are going to make, those people will feel very squandered during this time and very abandoned to some degree. Because again, the rat year, Chinese astrology year, which we are really wholeheartedly getting into during this equinox, it is about it being so low to the ground, It's hard to see the bigger picture. It's hard to see the long-term momentum of things right now. And nobody actually really will until we get into the next Chinese zodiac sign, which will be around January, February of 2021. No one's going to really understand what's at the end of this chapter, okay? And I just want to kind of maybe have us find a bit of a sigh of relief in that and relinquish a bit of grasp on future tripping, past tripping. It's just such a great year to live in the present, in layman's terms. It's a great time to be in the present. To talk a little bit more about the optimistic things of this equinox and what this year cycle is really creating, because again, the year cycle is March to March. We're starting a true astrological new year is marked by the equinox. So this is the greatest time to make New Year's resolutions. Okay, March 21st, March 22nd, start living how you want to live. You went the entire last year thinking, okay, I need to eat this way, I need to drink this way, I need to get up at this time, or I need to go to bed at this time, but you couldn't really do it. This is the perfect time to make that resolution, the perfect time to start that diet, the perfect time to do that detox, okay? Great time for New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions don't work in January when we have the calendar New Year, because that is Capricorn time. We are setting the precedent. We are setting the old things to be great. It's not about a new leaf. It's not about new things during Capricorn time. So people get really a little bit neurotic about New Year's resolutions during that time, and they don't really work because that is the most ancient energy during January. Great time for New Year's resolutions. There is going to be also a bit of confrontation with destiny. This is something that I wrote out in my outline, and I circled it like a lot of times and really felt that we're going to kind of have a little bit of a meeting with Creator to a degree, or meeting with the sense of destiny, fate, because as I said, it's so not about the collective. It's so individual that in order for it to be so inside the self and so disconnected from the bigger picture, there to a degree there has to be this small speck of like universality and this small speck of like destiny intertwined in that. So during the last week of March especially, there are probably going to be symbols around you, synchronicities, okay, that are going to be very clear about what you're suited for, okay? One of the biggest traumas that we have coming from the last few years, since about 2016, is the knowledge of what we're meant for, or the connection with like our soul path, our soul destiny, and the prevention of that, okay? So hypothetical, knowing that you're meant to be the musician, or knowing that you're meant to be the entrepreneur, or knowing that you're meant to be the dancer, whatever it is, the business person, and choosing to do something so opposite to that, okay? and doing that opposite thing, thinking, okay, maybe this is a bridge, maybe this is a transition to, being that musician or being whatever it is that I want to be, but never actually giving it to yourself, okay? Here is a time, Equinox of 2020, where there's another chance. The universe is really going to work with you to give you the things that you need to connect to soul destiny. So what this means is that one of the toughest, most difficult, chaotic things to go through right now is to continue saying no, or to continue not giving yourself what you need. Being the artist, but not giving yourself the canvas. Okay, being the musician, but not giving yourself the instrument. Okay, really, really tough. Okay, especially we come through Pisces time, we got to let go of all of that minutia. If we're wanting to be a million different things, we had to kind of get more concise about it. The full moon in Virgo in March 9th, and that'll last till April 9th to a degree. The full moons really echo and paint a picture for the entire month. March 9th to April 9th of 2020, there's a lot of donating. Okay, there's a lot of letting go. There's a lot of okay, I realize that I'm never going to actually do music. Okay, I've always wanted to do music, but I realize that it's not actually right. So I'm going to close the door on that for a little while and pursue what I've really wanted, which, I don't know, hypothetically, I've wanted to be, let's just say I've wanted to be a doctor. Okay, I'm going to sign up for medical school now. And I'm going to wait on music, and maybe I'll do it for fun. But that's harsh. To a degree, that is harsh, where we say, okay, I'm closing the door on this one thing, because to leave that door open and my energy is going out into it, but there's nothing there, I'm not doing it. So it's like releasing energy into oblivion, and it's draining. And full moon in Virgo energy kind of came in during Pisces time. It's like, okay, we're going to cut that off so that you have more energy. And that's not easy, but it's beautiful, and it makes sense. During the last week of March, when we're sort of going through the equinox time, it makes sense why we cut things off, or why we let things go, or why we hit the pause button. Because I feel this is a societal thing, and this is a collective thing right now. It has to do with internet culture and social media, and sort of mass ADD, mass attention deficit, where we get really like, okay, 1 second I want to do this, 1 second I want to do that, 1 second I think I can do this, 1 second I think I can do that. And there's no conciseness there. There's no linear path. And we've got an extreme cardinal injection this year with Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto in Capricorn, and Saturn's going into Aquarius on the day of the equinox, but it will retrograde back into Capricorn. It's not going to be in Aquarius for long, so we can't get too comfortable there. That does give us hope. That does give us ingenuity and eccentricity in what we pursue, but it's going to go back into Capricorn, and all of a sudden, we're going to have to be on linear focused paths again for quite a while. So don't get too comfortable with that. And I'll make a dedicated Saturn and Aquarius video once it truly gets into Aquarius here in a few months. But so my point is that during a Capricorn year and double one, because one is also a cardinal number, that's Aries. We've got hypercardinal energy this year. That means that there's a linear, concise path. We are not taking a bunch of detours. We are not turning around and going backwards and regressing, or going sideways and finding a new path on the sidelines. We've had to do that for about the last 5 years. Here, we are set in a fixed linear path. And a lot of people are causing a lot of pain to themselves by stopping or halting on the path, or regressing a bunch. We don't have a lot of fixed energy. It's not the time for a regression, or for a reflection, or for a revisiting, or for a detour. Not a lot of, there is the Neptune and Pisces mutable. That's a collective factor. And seasonally, we may get those urges, but at the end of the day, this is a cardinal, forward-moving, linear path. So what that means is we've got to quit some things, okay? We've got to let some things go. We've got to get with the times. We've got to realize what is pulling us off the path that we've needed, and move on. And it's actually such an awesome blessing to really be stepping into the archetype of the pioneer during the equinox. A lot of us are going to be in unfounded territory, and that just has to be as much of a blessing as we can allow it to be, because I feel that it's almost one of the best archetypes to jump into at this time, is to sort of be the pioneer. If you're the artist, start pioneering in your art. If you're, doctors start pioneering in that field, or if you're even kind of alone or unsure, or even like not in a specific career, or because that's really prevalent right now too. There's a lot of like really deep, ambiguous energy out and about. Try to pioneer that. Try to set a path and set into motion some type of long-term plan that you can adhere to. It's so rewarding for many of us. And for many of us, it's like finally time. Like, that's what I keep hearing. It's time. It's time. It's time to do it. Things have really marinated, or really been thought on a lot. There's been so much like mentality and so much logistics in many of our paths, and now it's time to start acting on that. Things can get overcooked, okay? I do sense the energy of overstaying, overcooking, too much gestalt, too much hyper thought. I've definitely even been struggling with that personally. It's like too much thought, too little action, basically. And the equinox of 2020 is like the salve. It's the solution to that tendency, okay? So some of us can kind of get pushed out of the nest a little bit with that too. Some of us can kind of really get pushed to do something that might be a little bit out of the comfort zone too. And I feel that it is a blessing. So things that are outside of the comfort zone when it comes to your own progression are blessings in disguise for sure. And then there is something also with honesty coming up during this equinox, and we will really see the truth of things, I think. We might have been really confused during Pisces season, really unclear, but as we move into Aries season, so March 21st to April 21st, there's going to be a lot of resolution, and a lot of, resolution isn't even the right word. It's just really getting clear and really, just seeing things for what they are. What you see is what you get. If it walks like a duck, it is a duck. That type of thing will be really prevalent during the equinox time. And I do think that some people have ultimatums as well. There's like a choice that hopefully you've made maybe by the equinox. So like, are you going to accept or reject something? Are you going to, again, it's really clear crossroads, really clear choices. It's like accept or reject. There's not really a lot of in between. There's not a lot of waiting it out. There's not a lot of like, well, I don't want to accept or reject. I'm just going to kind of, choose a third option. That's going to disappear during the equinox. And the sooner that we can cope with that, the better. This is a very decisive year. This is a very clear-cut year. There's not a lot of creative solutions to ultimatums, okay? So accepting the fact that ultimatums are here, and also perhaps seeing really clearly that to sit idle, or to not make any changes, to not move forward in any way, is perhaps one of the worst case scenarios. So it's really good to get clear with that. And, sometimes staying or continuing on is a way of moving forward, in which case that's great. But we should know really clearly if maintaining is driving us forward or if it's not. And based on that knowledge, we should really be able to make some good decisions, because I feel like decision making is actually great right now into the equinox. I feel that decision making will help us, and I feel that we're, for the most part, people are making pretty decent decisions, or at least have the capacity to make pretty decent decisions right now. So if you've needed to make a decision, now could be the time during the equinox. Also intuitively about the equinox, I feel that many of us are kind of learning to breathe again, and many of us are kind of learning how to do very background actions in a new way. So automatic things like breathing, sleeping, autonomic things, autonomic nervous system, peripheral nervous system. These things should be healing up too. Again, it's a nice time for a detox, especially if you start the detox before the equinox, so you can cleanse, because Pisces season is all about cleansing, purifying. That's why for those of you who are subscribed to my channel, you'll get this video a little bit early and in advance, so you can start to prepare yourselves. A great time to cut caffeine, to see things for what they are, to maybe do apple cider vinegar cleanse, some type of healthy cleanse, really positive. Again, I'm not a practitioner, so be sure to consult a practitioner who is professional before you take on such things, but it's a supported time. And as you move into the equinox time, you'll kind of wake up to a truth by cleansing and purifying things out. And so much of this is going to be environmental too, like the people that you're around, the people that you're talking to every day. There's a lot of dirtiness there, I feel, for a lot of people. There's a lot of parasites, there's a lot of leeches, there's a lot of and then there's a lot of like blessings too. And then some people can kind of convince themselves that their surroundings or their environments are more problematic than they actually are. That's really prevalent right now too. Regardless of which side you find yourself on, it should become very distinctly clear through the equinox. So prepare yourself to hear that clarity. I feel that some people have to get into savings. Okay, I don't necessarily mean like savings account, but I feel that some people have to spend during this time. Okay, so if there's not enough, it's almost like things have to be spent nonetheless, or things have to be used. Resources might have to be utilized, especially as we get toward Taurus time, so late April, and that's getting a little bit far ahead for me, but resources are going to be used by many people to clear up their environment. That's just a channeling that I'm feeling. And big resources. Okay, so we're talking, some of us are going to have to spend a lot to clear some of these things up. Some of us have big dreams or big aspirations, and that requires an expenditure. And here's the sort of chaos of humanity right now, is we need to be saving too. So that there are tough decisions. So here we get into ultimatums again. And I don't mean to make anybody feel like chaotic within, but it's just gonna come down to your own linear path. Do you think that your linear path right now is one of having just this incredibly abundant resources on hold? Or is your linear path about transmuting those resources into something that is like usable or something? There's no right answer or wrong answer. But this is an important meditation, and perhaps we all need to journal or meditate a little bit on what our resources are doing for us. I will also tell you guys that a big part of the 2020 year cycle is changing up the theme of like monetary compensation, the theme of money, fiat currency, resources. These things are not going to be a source of stability this year. I just want to get that out there, and I want us to take that into our decision-making consideration. Money, resources, property, land, value, all the things that we associate with value, these things are going to really change. And some of them are going to gain a lot more value. Some of them are going to like lose a lot of value. I can't predict which is going to be which, but I would almost recommend, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that follow your own personal sense of value. So if you're an artist, or if you're whatever it is that you are, put your money there, or put some amount of your resources to what you're good at and what you specialize in, because that's like the better investment. It's not so great to maybe have all those resources just sitting there. I would definitely recommend having the 6-month emergency fund. Have emergency funds. That's important. If you can have that. And maybe we should all be making that happen. So make like the 6-month fund, even the year fund happen. Like just make it happen. It's not about saying, oh, woe is me, there's no way I can save that much money. Just make it happen. And yeah, that's actually what a lot of people's 2020 year cycle is about making like the 6-month or the year emergency fund happen. That is totally what some people are just doing this year. And that is so rewarding too. And then for people who already have that, now you need to put that aside and try to watch out for harboring resources, or for getting addicted to holding. Again, the rat year, it's like a pack rat. It's like too frugal sometimes, or it's like consuming and holding on to things, and it's too heavy, so no new things can come in. Try to put your resources where you specialize. Okay, so if you're the musician, buy the instrument. If you're the artist, buy the paint. There are, and this is a sad thing, there are a lot of musicians and artists choosing to save their money rather than buy their paint or buy their instruments or things like that, just because of the unsturdiness of the economy. That's not going to get very sturdy this year or next year. And there are going to be new forms of economies coming through, and there's going to be new value systems put in place, and that's really hard to predict in this very moment. And that's why the equinox time comes in, and this is so in alignment with where we're all currently at, to sort of say, get our mind off of that a little bit. Let's think about ourselves a little bit. Let's think about our own paths, and are we providing for ourselves, and are we giving something that might be better for society as a whole, and are we specializing? Are we doing something of value? If we don't feel like we're doing what we're meant to, as we sort of have that confrontation with destiny, what an incredible time to start. Okay. What an incredible time to start. That's, I think, where I'm going to conclude this video at is, what an incredible time to start what you've been wanting to do for a long time, to put it into action, to get yourself out of bed, to allow yourself even to maybe stay up late if you've worked the long shift. This is a Capricorn year. Some of us are having to work 2 or 3 jobs. Y'all know I'm right there with you. There's a lot of things that we have to do to keep it up. And that's tiring, but it's a perfect year for it. And there's so many lessons to be learned. And sometimes we have to make ends meet, and we have to work hard. And this is one of those years where we have to work hard. So what a great time to start, and what a great time to even be working hard and allow yourself to do what you love, to allow yourself to create, okay? Because the creative people, the creative class is going to prosper. There's going to be a lot of dour, austere things happen this year, and we're going to need a light within that darkness. So I do feel that the musicians, the artists, the creators will flourish in a really, really beautiful way this year to a degree. And then also our really sturdy people, our doctors, our pharmacists, our lawyers, our restaurant workers, our servers, our workforce basically is also going to be a great source of hope. Okay, so it's neither here nor there, but basically whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, again, whether you're this like celebrity, whether you're working at the restaurant, whether you're working at the dentist's office, whatever job you do, there's some kind of hope that comes from it. Okay. And I do feel that everybody's a little bit discouraged with their work. Again, whether like the celebrity is hating to be a celebrity right now, the restaurant server is hating to be the restaurant server right now. And hopefully the equinox will come in and give a little bit of hope with that. It's like, okay, by doing this, how am I moving forward? And what a great time to start. What a great time to start the new thing. This is kind of the year where maybe the celebrity starts like working as a seamstress or something, or where the restaurant server starts singing on YouTube or something. Like there are some weird kind of eccentric things happening there, and it's a great time to start those things to get a little bit of a different taste of life. So enjoy everyone stepping into the archetype of the pioneer. Be safe. As I'm recording this video, our public health is not wonderful. We do have this coronavirus thing, which I have a video about. You guys can go search my channel for it. Yeah, it's, we got to kind of distance ourselves socially right at the beginning of this. And that's so we can work on ourselves. Again, whenever a virus or any type of public health thing becomes an issue, it's because we're distracting ourselves too much with the public. We're like saying, okay, instead of like doing the thing that I meant to do, I'm just going to go socialize with friends at the bar, or I'm just going to, go to my job, or I'm just going to do this. And we lose track of our own destiny. So we then have to socially distance, or we then have to quarantine just to be stuck with ourselves, basically, to see that really clearly. And that can be a great blessing. And it can make us stir crazy. It can make us a little bit like, ooh, all over the place. But that's a purging process, okay? That's a cleansing process. That's your body saying, oh my God, I didn't realize that I was way off track with things. And yeah, we get upset at ourselves and we feel like maybe depressed or something, but that is for a reason, and that is to establish a certain momentum. And that is kind of like a wake-up call from the universe. And it's a blessing. Some people go their entire lives and die without ever getting that wake-up call. But it's a wake-up call from the universe saying, hold on a minute. Are you forgetting what you're meant to do? And that's why it's a blessing. And then we can start to practice. We can start to get good at what we're meant to do. And then we can once we become healthy once more publicly, we can really start to put those things into place. But what a great time to start. Okay. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed the Equinox video. Feel free to comment any questions that you have below. I know that it was kind of jumping around a lot. It's still Mercury retrograde when I was filming the video, so I hope there's not been too much, audio glitch, and I hope that the point was concise enough. And, you guys know that I wanted to get it out early for you before the equinox. So I recorded it in Mercury retrograde anyway. And I'm still on a bit of a hiatus from private readings. I had to go on a hiatus. The Mercury retrograde in Pisces was not super conducive for them. But I will be back, and I will let you guys know when I am back to private readings. And otherwise, I will put the links below. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, that's so helpful. It's helping me to keep the channel going right now. I have exclusive tea chats, exclusive healing content, extended readings over there. So it's totally a fair exchange. Like you're getting you're getting an extra service by supporting on Patreon. So I'm so thankful to all my patrons. It's just so great, and I love really socializing with everyone over there. It's a nice sort of like intimate, protected community, and I love that. Okay. Also, if you want to check out my ebook Moon Symbols, that's in the description box too. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Sometimes I'm not super active, but I especially like being active on Twitter. I try to post daily updates over there and talk about the transits and what's going on. So if you haven't followed me yet on Twitter, go follow me there, because it's a totally free way to get more updates. And yeah, just like and comment on this video and subscribe if you're new. And I'm wishing you so much luck during the equinox. I'm wishing you so much luck with whatever it is that you're starting now. And really embrace it and get rid of the things that don't need to be around anymore. Purify, cleanse, all of that. We'll be talking soon, everyone. Much love. April videos will be out before too long. I'll talk to you later. Bye.